in. Thank you for tuning in each and every morning, because you know what? When you guys are here to listen, learn, and growth is what it's all about, because 2023 is the year of change. A lot of people are going to be hit very badly, when it comes to your mental. There's going to be a lot of people that are just really going to be badly hit. So we are grateful to have you here with us, because you know what, we want to implore our knowledge to you so that you improve in your life and business, because having that growth, that's what it's all about. So thank you for coming in and week out to listen, learn, and grow. So today, as we are talking about the change in 2023, what is expected, I'm going to be talking about a subject that is very, very important, and is oftentimes, when we are striving to reach the success, what happens? We fall flat. So today I'm going to talk about the 𝗔𝗶𝗀 barrier, okay? And what does that mean? So before I do go ahead, I really want to acknowledge all of you. We want to acknowledge you for joining us. And I want to introduce myself and welcome to the new people. So my name is 𝗥𝗵𝗲, and welcome.
My name is Ria, and welcome to our show,
𝗔𝗶𝗀 barrier. So when we are achieving the success that we are wanting, that we are striving for, there's always going to be moments. There are moments that we take those 5 steps forward to our goals, and what happens? And I talked about this. So what happens is your paradigms. Actually, you know what? Let me just, I just want to highlight. So what happens is your paradigms come into play. And what are your paradigms? Your paradigms are your habitual behaviors that we are conditioned to, our past behaviors has, we have been programmed, and is almost like, we go, it's almost like robotic. So we do behaviors, with thinking, feeling, and actions, like those 3 words that I talked about: your thinking, your feeling, and your actions. Okay, so your thinking, your thoughts, and your feelings, which is your actions or your behaviors. And when we are not in alignment, when we are not in aligned with our thoughts, then this is what happens. Because we are now misaligned. Okay, so we are misaligned in our thoughts, and because as a result we are misaligned, then your actions, the 𝗔𝗶𝗀 barrier. So let me give you an illustration. So basically what happens is, here you have your conscious mind, and here you have your subconscious mind. You have your body. Okay, and then these are your results. And I love this. I love the illustration of the stick figure all the time. And this was actually devised by a Viennese psychiatrist, and how he came about with this illustration of a stick figure is because he was working on his patients, and what he noticed was that the patients you know, as they were like internally they had low self-esteem. They didn't, you know, they had the lack of, you know, the self-worth. They were not worthy. And so as he began to work on his patients, he began to see that the subconscious mind, that means you could be the same person, okay? And this is why it is very, very important that before we begin to work on the external, we need to fix the internal. Okay, and this is why it's very important. You can expect on the external, you can expect things. If on the internal, you're not fixed. So, okay, so what do I mean by that? You might be thinking, okay, Alka, well, maybe what do you mean by how can I fix my internal? Very good point. So basically, so what the doctor, when he was working with his patients, what he noticed, that because he was a plastic surgeon, and what he noticed, that you are the same person. And whether you have an exterior, you know, say you have exterior, could be, as an example, you know, you might have a deformity of some kind, and that deformity that you have, say on your face, like, you know, you have a skin graft. So that is a huge, you know, psychologically, that is a huge lift. That's, you know, on a person, because having a skin graft, whether you've had a burn on your face, so now you've had a graft to really improve and reconstruct your skin. So what I'm trying to illustrate here, where the 𝗔𝗶 barrier actually is going to come. So this is a perfect example. So if you've had a burn to your face, you've reconstructed, you've had a face of reconstruction, you've had plastic surgery. So this is now, you've changed your external, but your internal, are you going to be the same person? Are you going to be negative? Are you going to be positive? And this is very important. And, you know, when it comes to psychological, Ria, you could attest to this. So when it comes to your psychological performance, you know, your exterior, your interior shouldn't really affect your exterior, and vice versa. Your exterior, the reconstruction that we have on the exterior should not really affect our internal. So that means your self-esteem. That will mean your, you know, do you see yourself, you know, as a self-worth? Do you see yourself worthy of achieving? Because let me tell you, oftentimes, and this will come down to your conscious mind, your conscious mind keeps us stuck. Our conscious mind has the, I will illustrate again, has the ability to reject. And your conscious mind has the ability to accept. Okay, so if your subconscious mind, and this is what we want to focus on, if your subconscious mind has the ability to only accept the right information, and this will come down to your subconscious mind, which is, you know, which is your emotional mind and your feeling. Okay, so this is where your subconscious. So now, as I illustrated, if I, you know, as I just said, so if you've had, you know, plastic surgery, you've had a reconstruction to your exterior, you know, let me ask you this question. Would that affect you? Would that, your internal, would that affect your self-esteem? You know, so by this, I mean, can you go outside? Can you face the world? Can you see yourself? Not only to have the approval of the outside world, how will they see you? But the important question here is, how do you see yourself? That's what I mean. This is what I mean by fixing yourself internally. Because if you can't accept yourself with many surgeries that you've had to your face, to any part of your body, the internal should never, ever have to change. And this is why this subject, trample the terror barrier, the barrier meaning your barrier is your self-worthiness, the barrier is the lack of, your barrier is the self-esteem that we have, that we face every single day in the workplace. Rejection is another trample barrier to success. So all of this is very, very important because it comes down to our conscious and our subconscious mind. What are we saying? What are we saying every single day? And when we can learn to really acknowledge our, behaviors, our actions, because how we act and how we think, we feel, and which is going to lead to our actions, which will lead to our behaviors. We need to fix the external, internal. And without fixing the internal, I just absolutely love that. And this is why I really want to focus on this, because change, when we talk about the change comes from within. Change comes from knowing who you are. Change comes from, being okay with who you are. Even though you've had the external facelift, the reconstruction, the, many operations or many surgeries that you've had. But regardless of the fact, and especially when it comes to the facial reconstruction, that should never have to change an individual's internal. Okay, let me give an example because I know this is really, I'm going deep. So let me give an example. So say I had surgery. So if I've had surgery to my face, I've had like skin graft, and I'm lying in bed. Emotionally, what am I feeling, thinking? Because ultimately, whatever my thoughts and feelings are going to be, this is going to result to my actions. And my actions will be, oh my God, please, can I just go? Please, can I just leave the hospital? When am I going to leave? Our thoughts are just going to go haywire. And that longer, the more that we say and stay stuck, this is the trample barrier, is staying stuck to where we are. So in our thoughts, in our mind. So if my mind was saying, oh my God, when am I leaving? What am I, so if my thoughts are saying this every single day, then it's going to take longer for me to leave the hospital, right? It's going to take longer. On the flip side, take the flip side. So I'm in the hospital and I'm, waiting. I'm chilled, I'm relaxed because I know that, the doctor's going to come and see me. So if I always stay in that frame of mind, knowing that I've still had my surgery to my face or any part of my body, but if I stay in that high vibe, at the end of the day, all these programs that I'm sharing with you is staying on the frequency to how quickly we can change from the negative to our thoughts and feelings and switching to the positive to achieving the results of getting better in, if we have the surgery, for example, getting better, being elevated to achieving the result, the money that we want. So everything, if we start to, be in the higher frequency, then things will start to change. And this is why I'm just going to leave it right here, because I'm going to come back and revisit this, because this is going, this to me is interesting. I love this, but I will come back and, rehash, because I always feel that when a subject like this is very, very deep, I want you to pay attention, because I want you to change. And if 2023 is the year for us to change, because 2023, we almost like end of February. We only got a week and a half, and we're almost done February, right? Then we're getting to March. So 2023, now is the time that a lot of people in their mental and their health, they could be hit. It is going to happen. So if mentally we are not in tune with ourselves, things will happen that big time. And I really want to help you, because I know this has helped me, and I know I've helped myself constantly on my journey. And I want to help you, because now is the time for us to change. Now is the time. So I will come back and I will rehash this, because this is going to go very deep. But it is one that I'm just very passionate about. I'm very passionate about talking about your mind and your mindset. And when we can begin to really hone into our mind and how we can start to elevate our mindset, how we can elevate our frequencies, then we can start to change ourselves. And I just gave you a perfect example of, like, if I was in a hospital and I had surgery, I had reconstruction to my face, what am I going to be feeling? What are my thoughts? What am I feeling? Negative or positive, right? So we choose to how we want to be. We choose the thoughts that we want to think about. We choose how we want to feel. Because at the end of the day, how we choose will lead to our behaviors, will lead to the actions that we take every single day. So, you know what, if you have any comments and you want to share, what do you do? Are you stuck right now? And where are you stuck? I would like to know that. I would like to know, where are you stuck right now? Where are those trampled barriers that you see for yourself that, you can't go past? You're here, but you're trying to go there, right here, but there's a barrier that's stopping you in your tracks. Ria, you have any thoughts you would like to share?
For that, Alka. Now I understand that internal change is very important before we can change the outside. It has to come from within. Now I'm always in the process of that internal change, because like I'm not perfect. Now, how do our listeners change the internal if they've been scarred, if they've been hurt before, where it's really very hard for them to change because of their past, because of their history? How can one change? If you could share 1 or 2 tips to slowly bring about that internal change.
Right. Yeah. So I can, as I said, I can give you my example of, what happened when I, internally I was scarred, internally I was traumatized. And when you are traumatized in any traumatic situation, then that obviously that's going to be with you for a long time. For most people, it can be with them for a long time. It could start with an early in your years, or it could be that traumatic event situation could be, any time. But the point that I'm trying to make is, if you are faced with a trauma and you are scarred as a result, whether you were, abused verbally, any other which way, and that is a scar that leaves with us internally. So what did I do to change those situations, those traumatic situations? What did I do? Number one was courage. Without courage, and number two was the willingness to see myself worthy, to see myself as, my self-acceptance. Self-acceptance, let me tell you, it is hugely powerful when you can start to accept yourself, when you can truly start to accept yourself and you do not require validation from anyone. This is the moment you truly have the power to shift. And this is what happened to me. You know what? I had to have this self-acceptance because nobody around is going to accept you. If nobody around you is going to accept you or support you, you've got to be the one to support and accept yourself, because you're the only one that is going to change. No one is going to change around you. So there are two things that I would share is, number one is courage, having the courage and the will to see yourself, the powerful person that you are. And self-acceptance is in direct relation to the will, because without the will, you're not going to go, you won't go anywhere. And so if you have the self-acceptance, you will go far. So I hope that answered your question, Maria.
Yes. So to recap is number one, acceptance, self-acceptance. Two, the will to change. Three, what is the third one? Is courage to change.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Exactly. Yeah. So guys, so we come to the end of another amazing show. Stay tuned for more to come, and we will see you the same time tomorrow morning. And in the meantime, make the rest of the day the best of your day, and we will see you tomorrow. And as always, knowledge is power. You come back week in and week out, and we appreciate you, but implementation of what you learn from the show is equally important. Okay, so implement. What did you learn today? Where are you today in your life that you feel you are stuck? You cannot go beyond. There's a barrier that is not allowing you to go further. Okay, so make the rest of the day the best for your day, and we will see you same time tomorrow morning.